Don't think you have time to exercise? Here's a 5-minute routine you can do with tubing any time of the day. Super easy. I'm going to show you how you can do this very quickly and incorporate this throughout your day. It's important that we do progressive resistive exercise in our osteoporosis program. We can use tubing, we can use free weights, we can use TheraBand or cables. I'm Ann, a holistic practitioner and physical therapist. These exercises are designed to be safe for osteoporosis and osteopenia. Always get your physician's okay before you're starting any new exercise program, and especially if you've just sustained a fracture. So let's get started. Okay, our first exercise, we're going to do our tricep kickbacks. Now, you can see here I have a tube system. This allows me to attach additional tubes to it to make it harder for me. So this is always an option, is to buy one that has the option to put on additional tubes to it. The other option would be to purchase a tubing that's just all-in-one in different colors. So typically every company has a different color system. Get the, always start with the lightest band. That would be my suggestion, especially if you're new to weights or tubing or bands. Get the lightest color and then work your way up from there. All right, so tricep kickbacks. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna face the side so you can see me. Step on your tubing and bring your feet about hip distance, maybe a little bit wider apart. Start with bending your knees and hinge at the hips so that the spine is all in one straight line. So we don't want to be here doing this exercise. We want to be in this hinged position. And you're going to lift the band up so there's some tension on it, keeping the arms close to the sides, sliding the shoulder blades down the back, and just extend the elbow back and then come forward. So it's back and release. It's extend and then. And watch that you're keeping the upper arm close to the side and in one place, that it's not doing something like this, coming back and forth. You're keeping that upper arm fairly close to the side as you extend the tubing back, bending only at the elbow. So here you want to do about 10 to 12 reps. If that's super easy for you, then that's when it's time to probably go up in band resistance or tube resistance. Okay, so that's our first one, tricep kickbacks. Again, the trouble parts here are if you are, watch that you're not lifting the shoulders up and that you're not rounding forward. Okay, from here, just stand up straight, turn the palms facing forward, and go into a bicep curl. So super easy, we're coming up to the shoulder and then slowly lowering down. So it's bend and extend, and it's bend and extend. And having a progressive resistive program is important if we're going to build bone. The bone needs continual stress and load on it, and we can do that by making our muscles stronger and by weight-bearing exercises and impact training. So you're going to do this, again, 10 to 12 reps, and then you take your rest to go into the next position. All right, our next exercise are going to be rows, all right? So for these, you're going to place the band under one foot, and you're going to take up the slack in that outside arm. Take up the slack in that so that you've got some tension on the tubing already. From here, you're going to bend the knees, hinge at the hips, and reach back with that back leg. And hinge, the more parallel you can get your upper body to the floor, the better. But make sure that you're balanced. If you need to hold on to something, that's totally fine. Grab onto a chair. And these exercises are going to be really helpful for lifting things off the floor. Okay, so check yourself first. Make sure that your core is engaged. You're hinging at the hips. You're not allowing this to happen. You're keeping that spine all in one straight line. The hips are pretty square to the front. You've pulled up the tension in the tube in that side. And now the first thing we'll do is set the shoulder blade, all right? I don't want the shoulder blade to be here because that brings us into a rounded upper spine, which puts us at more risk for compression fractures. So I want you to just pull that shoulder blade down, let it slide down the back so it stays in that fairly stable position. From here, you're just going to pull the tube up toward the ceiling. So you're pulling that elbow toward the ceiling and coming back down to that stable position. You're not allowing it to come way down here. So you're pulling and releasing, and pulling and releasing, keeping that shoulder blade sliding down, elbow to ceiling, just like you're starting a lawnmower. Again, this is really good for helping you to lift objects off the floor. It's a very functional motion. So rowing 10 to 12 reps on one side, and then we're going to do the same on the other side. So then come up, switch legs. So this time you'll pull up the slack in that other side. You will bend the knees, hinge at the hips, reach back with that leg, use support if you need to, all right? And same thing here. You're rowing, you're pulling up towards the ceiling, keeping that shoulder blade sliding down your back, keeping the spine in one line as you lift the elbow toward the ceiling. You're getting biceps here, and some beautiful strengthening work, functional strengthening. All right, and coming back up, ready for the next exercise. This next exercise is a great exercise to strengthen your sit to stand, okay, which is really important. So we're strengthening quad muscles here, glute or butt muscles here. To do this, take your tubing and put it underneath your feet. You're not gonna be able to go too wide with it. All right, so feet are under the hips, right about under the hips. Take your tubing up to your shoulders, all right? So you've gotta have pretty good alignment here. I really want you to, before you do this, make sure that you're engaging your core and you're lifting tall through the spine. Because when you lift these up, things tend to compress down. So we don't want this to happen. We don't want this to happen when we're pulling our tube up. So really watch for that you are growing tall through the spine as you do this, okay? And wrists are neutral. We don't want this, we don't want that. We want neutral wrists here. Okay, so you're going to squat down, hinge at the hips, and reach the butt back and squeeze to come up at the top. So it's bend the hips, reach the hips back, and squeeze at the top. So it's bend, hinge, so my spine's all in one line. I'm keeping my upper body lifted and come up. So it's squat down and come up. Squat down and come up. Squat down, squeeze at the top. And reach the seat, squeeze the seat. Reach it back, squeeze. So this 10 to 12 times. I'm going to show you how this looks if you do it touching a chair. Okay, so now that you've got the chair behind you, it's a nice tool to see how low you can get. So you're going to lift your tubing up, and you're going to bend the knees, hinge at the hips until you just barely touch it and come up. So you're bending, hinging and reaching and coming up and squeezing. So bend, reach back and come up. Hinge and rise. Hinge and rise. Hinge and rise. So watch that we're not doing any of this, and you're not coming straight down. You're really getting those hips to push back to come up. push back to come up. And reach back and come up. Such a functional exercise to have strong hips. If you've got low bone density in the hips, this is a good one for that. All right, our last exercise also targets the hips, the side hip muscles, which are important for walking, for balance, for bending, all the functional things that we do. So really, really important. So to do this one, super easy, just step onto your tubing, okay? And you can bring the bands up to your sides to get a little bit more tension. I want you to bend the knees, and you're just going to sidestep, sidestep. So you're putting a little bit of resistance and coming back in, but not all the way in, all right? So you're stepping out, coming in a little bit, out, coming in a little bit, out and in, out and in, out and in. And for this one, you can just see how long you can go within that minute, right? These are 5-minute exercises, so you can do each of these exercises within this 5 minutes. Some of them you may just get to 12 reps, that's what we want. But for something like this, you can see how many seconds you can go, or can you go the full minute doing side to side. So side, in, watching that you're keeping your body upright. Again, you're not rounding forward, everything's up, slight bend in the knees, keeping tension on the tube. You should feel this in the outer aspects of the hips. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today for my 5-minute exercise routine to do with tubing. There's no reason why we can't get a little bit of exercise in every single day. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you'll get my videos as they start to come out, and pick up my free osteoporosis ebook. I'll put that link in the comments below. Until next time.